Polynomial. Poly means many. And we agree that we have many terms going on here. And we're going to do the operation of add and subtract, because each parenthesis is separated by those. In order to add or subtract, we can only put together like terms. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to see if I can drop the parentheses before I start distributing them together. So I look in front of this parentheses here and I got a positive 1. So a positive 1 times anything inside here is not changing it. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the parentheses on this one. And then I have a positive 1 here. Positive 1 times anything in this parentheses doesn't change it, so I'm going to drop it. But I do notice I have this negative here. That means that's negative 1. Negative 1 times positive 8. Negative times positive is a negative. And a negative times positive again is negative. And just a little side note, negative times negative is positive. So if you have any troubles, definitely go back to the rules of signs. So now that I got it out of the parentheses, I can start putting together like terms. And how do I know it's a like term? I know that I have a variable of x and I have constant terms. This has x squared, that has x to the first. These two are not like terms, so I cannot put x squared with an x to the first power. But I do see I have an x squared here, so I know that these two goes together. So I have x squared plus 5x squared. So those are done. I see I have x to the first here, I have x to the first here, and I have x to the first here, so those three can go together. So I'm going to put plus 2x minus x minus 8x. So those three can go together. And now what am I left with? I'm left with constant terms, 6 and negative 3 and negative 2. Be careful, it's easy. See how I almost skipped the negative 2? It's very easy to do it. That's why I'm putting lines under. Some people like to mark them out as they go. Whatever works for you. So I have a plus 6 minus 2 minus 3. And if you notice what I did is when I'm done here, it's going to be in descending order. And that's what we want. Whenever you're working with polynomials, you definitely want them in descending order. Descending means that the highest power down to the lowest power. You agree, x squared is bigger than x to the first. And then there's no x here, so that means that x is raised to 0 here. Little side note, anything raised to 0 is 1 except for 0. X squared plus 5x squared, that's the same as saying 1x squared plus 5x squared. That is 6x squared. I have a positive 2x, so another way to look at this is I have $2 in the bank. I spent $1, so now I just got $1 left. And then I turn around and spent $8. So if all I had is $1 left in the bank, I spent 8, I'm in the hole, $7. So let's use that same format here. I have $6 in the bank, I spent 2, now I'm down to 4. Then I spent 3 and I'm down to 1. And it's a positive, so I'm going to put a positive 1. I'm not in the hole. This is my equation, my answer. And since it is 1, 2, 3 terms, it's called a trinomial. Oops, I put an extra N in there. Guys, be careful on that. It's easy to do. It's a trinomial. If it's 2 terms, it's a binomial. If it's 1 term, it's a mono. If it's more than 3 terms, we call it poly. Since it's in descending order, I could tell you what's the leading degree. The leading degree is the highest power, which is 2. To find the leading coefficient, we look at the term with the leading degree and we look at what is the number on that variable. The number on this variable is 6. And that is adding and subtraction of polynomials.